Appreciate you guys being here. A couple housekeeping things. This weekend obviously is our Veteran Appreciation Game coming up, and with Veterans Day being yesterday and having spent time coaching at West Point in the Naval Academy, and obviously want to give a shout out to all the men and women that have served. Shout out to Brenda Free's big win yesterday, women's basketball, and a 3-0 start, and then obviously field hockey has their playoffs. And so we want to wish Missy good luck Friday in the NCAA tournament. The Oregon game, obviously it does us no good to worry about things that have happened in the past right now, because we've got a lot of we've got some things to get accomplished this week. I thought our team competed well, the way we want them to compete in a game like Oregon against a really good team. I thought our quarterback hung in there pretty well. Defensively, was really impressed with, the way Coach Williams and the defensive staff were able to continue to compete against a really talented offense. And, Dylan Gabriel, our defense held him probably to the lowest passing yardage he had, obviously. The young guys are getting better, but still lots of work to do. Obviously, with Rutgers, they're coming off of a big win against Minnesota. They got the 5 wins, and they have an opportunity, obviously, to become bowl eligible this weekend here. So I know they were missing some key guys. Their running back, one of the more talented players in the country. Obviously, don't know his status, but I do know that the other guys that have filled in for him are really talented players. Their quarterback is kind of the guy that makes him go. If you look at the game from a week ago, and we've played against him, obviously, during his time at Minnesota. Got a lot of respect for Greg and the job he does as a coach, and over the years, really has his team always well prepared, and they do all the little things the right way. So, those guys will be well coached coming in here. Obviously, this is an important game for us, an opportunity for us to, we've got 2 home games left and a away game. And, this is playoff football. It's kind of what I told our team. It's our version of the playoffs, meaning we win, we advance. We lose, we make it a little tougher to advance. And so our players understand that. The pillars of our program is, how we start and how we finish. And obviously, we've got some work to do to finish the right way, which we've been here before as a team. I feel very confident the way that you got our guys prepared, that they'll put the necessary work in, and we definitely understand the importance of this game this weekend. Our captains going into this game, Kellen Wyatt, Caleb Wheatland, and Isaac Bunyan, will serve as our game captains, leading us into the Rutgers game. So with that, I'll open up to any questions.
Hey, Mike, you mentioned Rutgers being able to have an opportunity to get bowl eligible. How much does you guys becoming bowl eligible factor into the messaging going into this weekend for the rest of the season?
It really didn't. I mean, for us, we know the matrix of what it takes to get to bowl eligibility. The magic number is 6. As we have 3 opportunities left, 2 of them here at home, and we haven't been home in about 4 weeks now. And the importance of this game, because it's the next game, but also, like I said, it starts for us what really is playoff football, meaning we have to win to be able to advance, and our guys understand that.
What's it going to take for you guys to get back on the right side of the turnover ledger like you were the first half of the season?
Obviously, when you some of these turnovers are just tough for us. They're just really tough when you watch the play. The turnover there at the end of the game, KP's getting grabbed and Billy got hit in the face after the throw, and it's a interception. But most of the time when you look at these plays, those are, if it's us, it's pass interference, and we've got to do a better job of protecting the football. I mean, we understand it, but some of these turnovers that we've had, they're sometimes the rub of the green. And, what we've got to do is, our margin of error is really big for us. In the last 2 games, we've been right at that 12% threshold where we talk about the controllables on offense. We were at 12.59%, meaning we're not beating ourselves as much, but the interceptions and the fumbles, returns for touchdowns, those are the ones that come back to get us, and then we're not getting them on the other end. I think of the opening, we punt the ball down there, and the ball comes from underneath Ty Felton, one of our best players, and a chance to have the ball inside the 7. Those are the plays we got to make.
Hey, Coach.
What's up with you?
You mentioned comment on Guy obviously missed this past weekend, and with his status kind of uncertain for this week, do you feel like just kind of the uncertainty adds kind of another layer dimension to the game plan? And you mentioned just kind of the guys behind him having a true freshman. What have you kind of seen from him?
Yeah, I mean, they got a veteran O-line. I mean, if you look at their offensive line and the experience they have up front, that to me is a week ago I felt like the running backs at Oregon made the O-line better. This week, I think the O-line is one of the more talented, experienced lines in our league. And, obviously their running back, the starter, typically, I mean, he's, if not one of the best in the country. So losing that production, but, they threw the ball all around the place last week against Minnesota. I mean, the kid that transferred from Minnesota is talented enough. We've seen him. He's the guy that we feel like it kind of makes them go, and we've got to find a way to affect them a little bit more than we have.
Hey, Coach, what do you want to see from Billy?
I can't hear you, Sam.
What do you want to see from Billy these last 3 games?
Protect the football. Like to see us, the explosive plays again. We're not having them. We're driving the ball more. I think we had 6 of 10 drives go down the field. We're missing the explosives. We lost the explosive play battle 6-4. We had 4 explosives, they had 6. And to me, what I'd like to see us try to do is take advantage of, we have some plays. I think back to the punch play, all right? It's a wheel route, the hide concept where he's behind the defense, but we have to turn, catch, and fall down. I think of, Dylan Wade. We hit him on a little pivot route over the ball, and he catches it, and as he's catching it, he's stumbling. We're getting what the plays are designed for, but we have more talented players that I feel like there's some big plays being left on the field that we've got to figure out how to make them. And to me, for Billy, it's protection of the football. But as I said, when you look, 2 of the interceptions are just plays that when I watch them on tape, they shouldn't happen. They're not as egregious as maybe when there are a couple that the pick 6 against Minnesota was egregious. The one with Caden coming across the field, he got pulled and snagged, and the guy made the play. There's not much he can do about those.
And then for you, just as you've played now 2 of the new teams in the Big Ten, I wanted you just maybe if you could reflect on how this season, what have you liked about the realignment? What have you maybe not liked now that you guys have played USC and Oregon?
Yeah, I mean, again, I've been on the record that anytime you expand the room, anytime you make things more diverse, it makes it better because it adds to an already good product. The Big Ten was already a really good product. When you throw in SC and Oregon and Washington and these type of teams that have joined our league, when you expand the room and you bring diversity into anything, it just opens up for new ways of thinking, new ways of learning, new ways of doing stuff, and they've added value to our conference. And both really talented programs, well supported. Obviously, the environment there at Oregon was phenomenal. It's one that I envy, and I'm looking forward to building this environment to where we can become that.
Mike, what's been the challenge for you this fall in blending this defense together, and what gives you cause for confidence that they'll be able to make a difference?
Well, I just think the way they continue to play, I mean, our defense played, I thought, well enough for us to win on Saturday. I mean, they limited one of the more explosive offenses to 6 explosives. They got off the field. They got us the ball back. The problem is it hasn't been complementary, meaning when we're playing well on offense, our defense isn't necessarily, we score right before the half and then they go down and they get one right before the half. And then our defense really has done a good job of the adjustment piece. The biggest thing for us is the patience of allowing these guys to grow up on the perimeter and then continuing to get the consistency, maybe a little more pass rush, affect the quarterback a little bit more than what we have.
Rutgers snapped a losing streak last Saturday against Minnesota. They beat Minnesota. What from that game tape jumped out at you that made you take notice?
The quarterback throwing the ball the way he did. I mean, and we know how talented he is. I mean, we saw him when he had Rashad Bateman and a couple of those guys at Minnesota. We've gone against them, but they have been a team that has relied on the ability to run the ball, play field position, and then great on special teams. Their special teams are really, really talented. And so, it's going to come down to that. Our ability of, on special teams, finding a way to affect the game. On offense, us protecting the football the way we need to. And then on defense, we just haven't gotten the turnovers that we were getting earlier in the year. It's kind of they've dried up here the last couple of games. We got to figure out how to get people to turn the ball over.
Hey, Mike.
George, what's up?
Having the similarities between them just playing Minnesota, you guys playing Minnesota just a few weeks ago, are there things, since that's so close in the calendar, that you can look at to see ways that you can
Yeah, I don't know if you've studied this league, but Rutgers and Minnesota, like, I don't know what's going on, but coaches are going back and forth, players are going, and so
it's a loop from
yeah,
Great Lakes to.
But their defenses are similar structured. Obviously, Greg has a nest of coaches that have worked with him that kind of embraced that philosophy. I kind of came up under the Nick Saban philosophy the last few years, and you can see Greg's imprint, at both places, whether it's on the offense or the defense, very similar structure. In the special teams pieces, I think the differentiator for them, because they've been really, really good on special teams with their specialists and the variety of things they do, they create advantages. And that's where, for us, if there's an area where we need to clean up some things fast, is we've got to be able to, which I thought we did a week ago, a little bit better, but it's going to come down to us and our ability in the special teams areas to either generate momentum or not hurt ourselves.
And in the rushing game, I know you guys are trying to utilize, screen passes, wheel routes to simulate that a little bit, but in terms of actually getting the carries and getting the yards on the ground that way, progress in that aspect?
It is, because if you watch it, the one thing that has gone down here probably the last 3 weeks are the negative plays, the negative runs, meaning guys unblocked, getting hit in the backfield, and we haven't had a bunch of those, but I still can tell you we haven't run the ball the way we want to, and that has been the missing piece. I mean, we have to find a way to, when I always talk about balance isn't how many times we do it, it's when we have to run it efficiently. And you know what, there were times where we actually, our one-back power play, we hit 6-7 yards twice. We just not having it consistent enough to stay on track with the run game. That puts a lot of pressure on the young line. We had a true freshman started left tackle last week in Therese Davis, who I think will be one hell of a player in the future. And these are the growing pains that we go through. But to help us, we got to be more efficient at running the ball, and that's something we got to figure out here this week.
What is the left tackle going to look like this Saturday? I mean, Andre, how's he doing? Is Therese going to be there again? And Marcus played last week too. So.
I mean, we're still trying to figure it out. I mean, Andre is working himself back, obviously, from the injury in the Minnesota game. Therese, as I said, is one of the talented freshmen. He and both Michael Hershey, who now is healthy, and it's great to have that back because it creates a little more depth. We're hopeful that we can get Andre Roy back because of the experience that he had as a first-time starter this year. Just having him out there gives us depth to where now we can play Therese 30 plays and not have to play him 55 or 60, which the more plays young guys play, the more opportunities they have to get better, but also they get exposed a little bit. And that's where the depth that we had going into the season, we've struggled up front because of some of the injuries we faced.